Just in. Sync. Check out the recently retired GOAT throwing accurate passes off a yacht to David Beckham's son riding on a jet ski. You can't make this up. Look at this. Are these people rich superheroes? What's going on over here? I mean, that's like something. You're catching passes from Tom Brady off a yacht, David Beckham's son on a jet ski? You can't make this up. All right, yeah, retirement does look good for Tom Brady. Finally fell off the cliff. No, he never did. Brady and Bill Belichick combined for 249 regular season and playoff wins over their 20 years together, the most by a starting quarterback and head coach duo in NFL history. The two dominated the mighty AFC East while they were together in Foxborough, winning 17 division titles. There are only 2 seasons where Brady was the primary starter and the Patriots did not win the division outright, and they made 9 Super Bowl appearances, winning 6 of them for the Patriots. The 9 appearances are more than any franchise in the NFL, and the 6 tie the Steelers for most all-time, 6 Super Bowl wins. So here's Bill Belichick's statement on the retirement of Tom Brady. I'm privileged to have drafted and coached Tom Brady, the ultimate competitor and winner. Tom's humble beginning in professional football ultimately ended with him becoming the best player in NFL history. Tom consistently performed at the highest level against competition that always made him the #1 player to stop. His pursuit of excellence was inspirational. Tom was professional on and off the field and carried himself with class, integrity, and kindness. I thank Tom for his relentless pursuit of excellence and positive impact on me and the New England Patriots for 20 years. That's from the No Kidding Sherlock files. Then Brady responded on his IG story with, "Thank you, Coach Belichick. I appreciate being coached by you, the greatest coach in NFL history." With 3 heart emojis. 3 heart emojis. Best friends forever. Back here with Chris Mortensen and Brady's former teammate, 2-time Super Bowl champion Damien Woody. Damien, before we get to Belichick's statement, what was your reaction to Brady's announcement earlier this week?
Well, listen, I mean, what more could the man do? 44 years old. In my opinion, he was the league MVP. I mean, the numbers that he put up, and for him to go out, man, the way he went out without any type of cliff, in his play, it just speaks volumes to the type of competitor and the player that we're talking about. And he's the greatest, man. He's the greatest, no doubt.
I'll just point out that Ty Law was on Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max on the morning on ESPN Radio this morning and said that he thinks I extended Brady's career by several years just to prove me wrong. So it turns out, Damien, that in fact I might be the greatest quarterback in the history of the NFL somehow. All right. Mort, many wonder if Belichick can get back to the promised land, right? Like, he was a guy, I always thought it was more Belichick than Brady. I was not correct. Maybe it was equal parts, I don't know. But at the very least, it wasn't more Belichick than Brady. Can he get back? Like, is it enough for him just to show that he can win, get to the playoffs with a Mac, or does he need to get back to the Super Bowl to make a point here?
Well, let me say this. In the beginning, it was more Belichick than Brady. I mean, Tom Brady, listen, I give Belichick and his staff all the credit for nurturing Tom Brady to become what he has become. A quarterback that we acknowledge as unparalleled in what he has achieved in terms of winning championships. They had a defense, they had a running game, and then Tom Brady eventually grew out of that, and you give him all that type of credit. Can he go win another Super Bowl? The only around the league is it's Bill Belichick. This is a guy who knows how to build an organization. But no longer does he have free reign in the AFC East because there is a team in Buffalo with an excellent front office, an excellent head coach, and a beast of a quarterback in Josh Allen, who's only 25 years old, that creates formidable obstacles for him to get back to the Super Bowl. So different obstacles, but I don't think there's any question from talking to other coaches and GMs around the league that they expect Belichick to be very viable in terms of contending.
Damien, I don't want to hear it's both and all that nonsense. The greatest sports debate in the 21st century, because this Tom Brady, Bill Belichick thing has spanned so far the entire 21st century to this moment, basically, right? It's Jordan and LeBron, but no one will ever know, and the answer is Jordan. And then the other thing is, was it more Brady or Belichick? Brady won the Super Bowl his first year without Belichick. did he prove that it was more him? And does Belichick need to win one to get back even with Tom Brady?
Well, listen, I mean, the argument is going to be made that it's more Brady than Belichick because Brady left the Patriot way and took it down to Tampa and won one. But, Max, you know, Tom Brady wouldn't have been Tom Brady without Bill Belichick. Oh. He had to develop Tom Brady in order to nurture him, in order for him to become the player and the guy that we ultimately know as the GOAT right now. So, yes, you probably could give the slight edge to Tom Brady if that's the way you want to play it. But, you know, both of those guys are just the greatest of all time, in my opinion.
First of all, Damien and Mort, I see you rolling your eyes. Both of you, you think that I'm infuriating. You're both making me sick right now. Let me tell you something, guys. What do you think in bars, on street corners, in schools, you know, at water coolers, online, for the next however many decades, people are going to end their arguments by going, well, they were both great. That's not what this is about. People want to know this is sports. We want a hierarchy. Mort, I'm quick because I'm busting through a stoplight right now.
Oh, well, let me just say this. Damien mentioned this. I have an MVP vote. It has to be cast at the end of the regular season. I voted for Tom Brady, and I can justify it. Move on to the next question. I know you got one for me.
Yes, you can. Actually, we have to move it along, but you know what? I don't care what they say, regular season, whatever. I look at playoffs. After interviewing with the Minnesota Vikings on Wednesday, Jim Harbaugh informed Michigan he will be returning to the school for the 2022 season. That, according to our Adam Schefter. Sources say Harbaugh told athletic director Ward Manuel that this would not be a recurring issue and that he would be staying at Michigan as long as the school wants him. Los Angeles Rams offensive coordinator Kevin O'Connell is the favorite to get the Vikings head coaching gig, sources tell Schefter and Dan Graziano. Joining us now is the president of the Jim Harbaugh fan club, the one and only Paul Feinbaum. Paul, your reaction, please, to Jim Harbaugh staying in Ann Arbor.
He went to Minnesota expecting to get a job, Max. He didn't get it, so now he's trying to spin it any way he can. And there's no getting around that he looks very bad. He isn't just some garden variety coach at Nowhere State. This is Jim Harbaugh at the University of Michigan. And everyone connected to both programs, to Michigan, expected him not to come back as anything other than the Vikings coach. So he went there, he interviewed. As the interviews went on, according to various sources, Max, the Vikings realized they didn't want him, they wanted to go younger. They liked what was going on in the NFL, especially with the Super Bowl matchup, and it began to disintegrate. He hopped on the plane, and before he came back to Ann Arbor, he called the AD and said, "Oh, by the way, I'm staying. Can't wait to move ahead. And by the way, this will never happen again." Even though he, in essence, held this program hostage for a month, and he did all this, Max, on National Signing Day, the day that he committed to players and they committed back to him, and he's about to walk out on them if he could.
The thing he better make sure doesn't never happen again, it's a lot of negatives there, is beating Ohio State, right? Like, that's the thing he's got to make sure happens again now that he's going back to Michigan, Paul. He says he will not make this a recurring issue, this being taking interviews for other jobs. Are you buying it?
Well, the only reason I might buy it is I don't think he'll have these opportunities again, Max. He is 58 years old, and there were 9 NFL openings this year. So I'm just trying to think, if these clubs did not want him, and obviously he had some relationships with the people up in Minneapolis, then who exactly would? Jim Harbaugh has not set college football on fire. He's had one really good year. He went to the playoffs this year and lost and was really blown out by the eventual national champion Georgia. He's had 1 or 2 other years where he made a run, but until this year, he couldn't do the one thing, the single thing that he was hired to do, and that was beat Ohio State. He's now done that once. I don't think he's going to do it that many more times in the future.
But if he didn't set the NFL on fire, he at least had it smoking, Paul, because he got to a Super Bowl. Sure. Do you think he gets Michigan back into the playoff next year? That, even if you don't beat Ohio State, like, that's a success. You get into the playoff. Do you think he could do that?
I would say no. And he has a good team. They'll be preseason top 10 ranking. And the schedule is fairly soft, except for one game, November 26th at Ohio State. I don't see them winning that game right now. And I think they will have a good year. But you have to beat Ohio State to get to the playoffs. You have to win the Big Ten, and I don't think they'll do it.
Paul, Lane